What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what data is coming out for tomorrow, talk about the news involving NIO. You should be watching for as time progresses on the charts. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And don't forget that if you open an account, you're going to get an 8.1% APY on any amount of uninvested cash. But anyways, that's pretty much it for now. Let's now talk about what's happening with the markets. Looking at NIO, we're still range bound right now. We have the support to watch for at this 3.97 area, and resistance is going to be right here around this 4.1 area. So we watch this if we can break past that to turn back up, or if we're going to be stuck within a range. But so far, NIO does have potential to try to rebound if we do try to break past this resistance. So we watch to see if that ends up being the case. There's going to be some new catalysts coming out that are going to affect NIO for the week. So let's talk about those first before I break down the charts. One thing worth mentioning is that a lot of people are a little bit concerned right now because September, October are historically not the best of months for the markets, especially during election years, and things tend to improve around November and December. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. And as you guys can see, with that fear building, I think that that is fueling, these market makers to try to push things a little higher temporarily, and then we'll see if that leads to a sell off later on or not. But for the time being, I think that with all this fear that's building about September being a bad month, they may try to push the market higher just temporarily. Now, tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Don't forget that at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the ISM manufacturing numbers coming out for PMI, new orders, and prices. Then we have some bill auctions. That's pretty much it. So watch and see some volatility at that time. For earnings, for Tuesday, there's not really much coming out, but for Wednesday, we have lots of retail like Dick's Sporting Goods, not to mention a few more. And then finally, for Thursday, we have NIO announcing its earnings. That's going to be very important. So expect some high volatility for NIO on Wednesday through Friday, the day before and the day after earnings. So watch for that. For the fear and greed index is currently at greed. We are getting closer to extreme greed. We're not quite there yet. So that just shows the market has more room to go higher. Same thing with these momentum indicators. The market still has potential. The VIX remains bearish and more neutral. So we're going to have to give this a little bit more time just to see how things develop from here. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being something that's important for the markets. With that being said, let me go back over here to NIO's Envo release. They've opened their first 105 stores as debut for the Model L60's format launch. That's coming out very, very soon. So starting to see a lot more of these stores being opened. Envo's first 105 stores opened today across 55 cities in China, and the brand once again announced this today. So very, very big news for them. Envo is going to be an important part of their sub brand to make more affordable vehicles, which is going to give them a lot more of a competitive advantage. So, good news for them. This is going to be very, very useful. I think that after the Envo L60 made its debut, deliveries will be starting very, very soon. For NIO, there's also some news coming out that they opened a 2500th power swap station. Good news for them. And they're continuing to grow as time goes on. So that's very important for their business. Besides that, there's not really anything changing in analyst ratings. The price price ratio is going up just a little bit as NIO is gaining some strength. And historically, Tuesdays do tend to be green 55% of the time, so it's a good sign for NIO. So we'll see how things go. But anyways, that's pretty much it for my analysis on the data. Now let's just focus on what's going on with the chart. So looking at NIO, we got a nice double bottom like structure, and we're forming a nice accumulation. So this could oftentimes lead to a nice bounce. If we do a rebound, try to break our 200 EMA, I'll be looking for this imbalance to fill towards this 4.45 area. So I'll watch to see if that ends up being the case or not. But in my personal opinion, I think that there's a good chance that we do dip a little bit before we try to rebound. And we'll be watching to see if the 200 EMA breaks or not. We kind of gapped right over here. So look for a little dip tomorrow morning. We'll see if we hold at 3.97. If we bounce off this, we could start to push higher, especially thanks to the bullish news that came out. We have to break past 4.23 to remain bullish. I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case or not. But so far, there's most definitely some potential for it to go higher. Now, SPY looks more bullish. We're nearing a bullish cross in the PPO. We're trying to break this resistance. I think we may be attempting to get up to 565. If that breaks, we'll be looking at 568 and 570. If we lose 562, we could turn back down to 560, right down to our 20 EMA. But this is still favoring upside, whether we dip a bit and then start pushing, or if we just push from here. I anticipate 565 is going to be tested. We might break through this to see another rally higher. We had a very, very bullish close, at least on Friday, and the overall technicals look more bullish. So we are favoring a push once again to new all-time highs. So I think there's a good chance we do approach that, in my personal opinion. For ES, we look more bullish. We're going to be approaching this resistance around this 5670 zone. So if we manage to break through this, I think that this inverse head and shoulders could actually lead to more upside, especially where this imbalance happens to be at the 5700 area. There's a good chance we do try to push a little higher, so I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. For Nvda, Nvda is once again in a very interesting place. We're holding our 200 EMA. As long as we hold this 117.74 area, we could try to rebound for that 122 zone. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for a big push for 124. Now, as we're trying to hold our 200 EMA, we could be trying to push for 122. I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. There's a good chance Nvda will attempt to do so. For Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a nice bullish divergence that's trying to develop right over here. This makes me suspect it may attempt to go a little higher. We could be looking for a test of about that 59,500 area if we break past 58,500. If we lose 57,000, look for a dip. I presume it's going to try to rebound and try to go for that 59,500 area, and we'll see where it goes from there. For a few more, such as the QQQ, I'll go over the QQQ then Tesla, by the way. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure that's developing and a bullish cross in the PPO. If we manage to break past 477, we're going to be looking for 480, then eventually 483. If we lose 473, look for a dip, but this looks a little bit more bullish to me. Tesla looks more bullish. We've got a nice inverse head and shoulders, got a bullish looking structure. As long as we break 215, we're going to be looking for this 220 area to hold. That looks more bullish to me. For the IWM, for example, this looks a little bit more bullish. As long as we hold this trend line, I'll be looking for this 122 area to fill this imbalance. If we lose 118, look for a dip, but this is favoring an upside move for that 222 area. For Aapl, Apple's doing a good job at holding up. We're making higher highs and higher lows, but it's worth mentioning that we have a nice cup-like structure that's developing, a nice inverse head and shoulders. So I think there's a good chance that we try to push higher for that 235 area, like all the way up there. So I think that's more favorable in my personal opinion. If you do lose 226, there'll be a dip coming, but I favor the upside for that 230 plus targets and eventually taking us up to fill that gap. For a few more, for those who are interested, we have Amazon looking more bullish. We got to try to break 178.73, the 200 EMA. If this breaks, we're looking for basically 181. For Meta is kind of like stuck in the middle. We could try to push higher for this 528 area. So I think there's a good chance we try to push up here. For Microsoft needs to try to hold above 415. If we do hold above this, we could be looking for basically the 420 area. So there's a good chance we try to rebound. And then Google is also looking more bullish on the 4-hour time frame. If we break past 166, we're looking for 168. I think there's a good amount of potential in this. For GameStop, GameStop has potential. We got a nice little bounce forming a double bottom. As long as we hold above 22.72, we're going to be looking for a push for that 25 area. If we lose 22.72, we may dip, but this is favoring upside. AMC also could try to rebound with this, but we got to get back above 4.96. So I think we may be attempting to get there. Anyways, that's it for my analysis, guys. As far as NIO goes, I do anticipate we're going to be dipping a little bit to 3.97. If we hold that, we're going to bounce. If not, we could dip lower. I'm hoping it bounces off 3.97 and then continues higher because we still have this imbalance to fill in the 4.5 area. I would love to see NIO form a nice accumulation, try to start breaking out. So look for a dip and hopefully a bounce off 3.97, start pushing up for that 4.5 area. That's the most likely possibility for NIO, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys. I know Labor Day is a holiday, so have fun, guys. Enjoy time with your loved ones, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. And thank you all so much for listening. Take care, and peace out.